Hello to the G80 M3 competition. Right behind me we've got the Portimao Blue, which is a absolutely lovely spec, as you can see. Not sure how well it comes on a camera, but in real life, especially with the sun, Jesus, it's beautiful. I have been waiting for this car for an eternity really, and I feel quite special driving it and quite spoiled because not many people got the chance unless you bought it, and if you did, good choice. But yeah, this is a very controversial car at the moment because of some design features and the price really. But today I'll show you a couple of things about the car, take you around a little bit, hopefully be able to give you a little bit of a B-roll and POV driving if the roads allow it and there's not too much traffic. And then we can talk about some of the handling and the performance features while I'm taking you for a ride inside the car. So I say we take the car for a drive. I'll talk to you about a couple of things that I have planned to discuss, and yeah, I'll see you guys in a second. Welcome to the cabin of the G80 M3, and let me tell you, this thing is a pleasure to be in. One thing I can mention though is the suspension setup. It's not the most comfortable ride in the world because obviously this is an M3 competition. It's supposed to be the sportiest 3 Series out there, and it surely is. But the suspension is surprising, so to say, because when you do go over small bumps and undulations in the road, it's very stiff. It feels like it's going to shake itself apart sometimes. The chassis is very stiff, you're bouncing around. But when you do take a bump or a speed bump or something like this, a considerable change in tarmac, it soaks it up very well for some reason, and that's a bit confusing when you drive this car, because you think you will take this bump in front of you and it will give you 2 herniated discs, and then it's just soft and it kind of floats over it. And some other times you take a little pothole and everything just shakes in the cabin and you think you're going to fly out. So that's quite interesting about this car really. But it's the same suspension that allows this car to corner away corners and not lean in bends at all really. It's honestly astonishing how a car this big, because it's quite a big car, how a car this big can handle like this in tight scenarios, so tight corners, tight bends, quick changes of direction. If you're driving on a more tactical country road or racetrack or whatever, it really does handle really well. But one thing I do need to mention about this car, and not just this car, but most cars built in the past 3 to 4 years, is the lack of noise that you can hear from the exhaust inside the cabin. And I'm not talking about the active noise, whatever they call it, that you get through the speakers of the cabin. No, that's something I never really enjoyed and never will enjoy. It's the lack of exhaust noise that you can hear from the outside of the car. And granted, this car has double glazed windows in the front, very thick windshield, so the noise is even more muted, but that contributes to having a pleasant experience on the motorway. Right now I'm driving on the motorway, and I hope it doesn't get picked up as much, but I can have a normal conversation in the car with somebody and it's perfectly fine. But when it comes to the exhaust noise, I've been told from outside the car, people that have heard me, friends that had me fly by and all kinds of stuff have said that yes, it does sound really good, especially when it's in MDM or track mode. You get some burbles and you can hear it all the way down the road as it's downshifting there and changing through the gears. But yeah, you'll have some flyby footage coming up right now. So you tell me if it sounds good or it doesn't. I think it sounds pretty good, given it's a stock exhaust. It's not even EM performance exhaust, it's just normal M3 competition exhaust. If you do want to experience this car fully and you've bought one, do get an upgraded exhaust system. Find out whichever one is the best. I like the deeper ones, the more throaty exhausts, rather than going for the tinny, scratchy ones like the E46 M3 kind of sound, you know, rattly, tinny, which, sure, it's probably a pleasant sound for somebody that enjoys those sounds, but for me, it's, I much rather prefer a throaty sound. I'm probably making stupid faces, but how can you not? I mean, listen to this. And that's it, and you've caught up to traffic. It's it's a crazy, crazy machine, which I do not want to give back. So if you don't hear from me, I've taken the car and run away to some island somewhere in the Caribbean. But yeah, jokes aside, this is a beautiful machine. Whoever buys one will not be disappointed, because it's quite a lot of car for the money. It's true, starting at £75,000 for an M3 is quite the number, but what can you do? You get quite a bit of car, you get a lot of power, you get an amazing engine. It's a good car. I know this is Porsche territory, and if you start speccing it up with carbon bucket seats or the ultimate package, which is north of £11,000, you do get quite a few bits and bobs, but you are taking this car around the £90,000 region, which it's expensive. It's expensive to spend on M3 or M4, but hey, if I had the money, I would. Really. And the steering as well. Steering is it's interesting as well, because on the F-Series cars, it's quite heavy if you put it in Sport or Sport Plus. You know, you gotta pull it quite a bit, which I do like. But in this car, on the G80, it's not as stiff when you move it, but it's very direct. So I don't think there was an instance where I moved the steering wheel, especially in the sport settings, and I felt like I didn't know where the front end is. It's very direct and it's very sharp. So when you do take a corner, which is really interesting, when you take a corner at a speed that you think it's at the limit of the car, and then you keep pulling the steering wheel and it keeps turning hard more, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It just blows my mind, really. It's probably also something to do with the tires, the new PS4Ss that launched with the M3. So Michelin partnered up with BMW to create these beautiful tires that launched with the M3 and M4, and it's a new modernized version of the PS4S. tires, and let me tell you, they are incredible. In the dry, in the wet, whatever you are, you put your foot down and it delivers the power. Yeah, sure, you get a bit of slip, of course, because you go north of 500 horsepower in this car and north of 600 Newton meters, but when you put your foot down, it goes, it shoots, no matter what the conditions are like. And that's something you don't really see much from a BMW if it's a rear-wheel drive, which personally I prefer compared to all-wheel drive cars and front-wheel drives. And it does sadden me quite a bit that BMW is slowly stepping towards all-wheel drive, because it really does numb the feeling of a car, a sports car that is, and it does take away from the driver's responsibility to be safe and knowledgeable behind the steering wheel. But I guess it's we're heading towards a more safer, more user-friendly era of sports cars, so it's something that myself and other enthusiasts will have to deal with in the years to come. Another shocking thing about this car is the braking performance. It's absolutely mind-blowing. You step on the pedal, you want to, you're driving fast, you're driving technical on a country lane, and you step on the pedal to slow down, and you go to about what you think it's like 80%, and you really feel it brake, but then you step on the pedal even more and it gives you another 40-50% travel, and then you really feel it. I mean, to the point where your eyes feel like you're about to come out their sockets. It's incredible how much braking performance you get. It's the gigantic 6-piston caliper in the front combined with the PS4S's, and you get some astonishing braking performance out of this vehicle. Out of this M3. It's really something to behold, and it's the front end. When you do brake, it's not squirmy. It's not, it doesn't give you any doubts when you hit the brakes. You hit the brakes, and the car just stops. If you need to do an emergency stop, you've got plenty of power for that. It's incredible what you can do with this car. When you combine the brakes, the tires, the alignment of the suspension, as I said before, the angle of the camber and the toe that you get from this alignment, it's just beautiful. You turn the wheel and the car just digs into the ground. You kind of just like it turns, and it feels like the front corner of the car is going to just scrape on the ground. That's how far the car leans forward and kind of digs into the ground. Really, it's quite something. This 2021 G80 M3 competition is honestly a true German engineering masterpiece. I've said it. Yeah, it is. It truly is. I mean, this car handles like a small car. It probably handles something like a M2 competition, M2 CS, and I'm not even joking. It feels so nimble when you drive it. You look at it and it's big. You get in it and it's it's a big car. It's an M3, a 2020 car, so it's quite big. But then you start driving it and pushing it, and it's like, where is all that weight going? I don't feel it. Where is it going? It's astonishing. So yeah, there's nothing else for me to say about this car other than that it is a true German engineering masterpiece, and I'm very, very thankful that I got the chance to drive this thing and have it for a few days, all thanks to Partridge BMW, who have kindly arranged for me to have this car delivered, and as always, flawless experience with them. And hopefully we'll be back inside this or maybe another one, or maybe an M4, maybe one of these M3s or M4s later on, and give you guys more content with it, take it maybe on a more fun drive, maybe up in the Cotswold, maybe up in Scotland, somewhere more interesting, and give you guys a bit more content with this absolute machine. But until then, thank you very much for watching. I do hope to see you again in my next videos, and enjoy this B-roll. Peace.